January 20th, when the mill exploded in Burns Lake, it took 2 lives, and a brother-in-law of mine and one of my first cousins. And the community hasn't been the same since. My family hasn't been the same since. There's a lot of jobs that were taken that night. We had a number of families that were without incomes, and up in the north, it's pretty tough when your community is based on one industry, and that was the forestry industry.
We've had to build our band up. We had absolutely nothing. No dollars, no equipment, no office. And to accumulate that kind of stuff, INAC funding just doesn't cut it. There just is not enough money to do that.
Making my dad's livelihood is running a chainsaw, mixing oil and gas every day to fall trees so we could eat at home. But then they ran out of trees, and now there's no more good trees around here.
It's unacceptable. Pure and simple. The poverty is unacceptable. We have third world standards in a country as wealthy and affluent as Canada.
We started to plan to restart training to regain all of the jobs that were lost.
Heavy equipment operator training by itself for one individual costs $20,000. For a small nation, we can't afford that on our own. Through the Pacific Trails pipeline, we've been able to cost share. They'll have meaningful training and education under their belt so that it's lasting, and it's our people that benefit.
We're just trying to prepare our nation for all of these projects that are coming through, and the training is the #1 thing. So they're learning a lot of transferable skills as well, so they can easily go from say a pipeline project to a mining project, or the students we have right now are doing environmental studies, so they'll be able to work on a lot of different projects with their tickets that they're getting right now.
We have a few people in Burns Lake that are training to be environmental monitors, and in Prince George on pipeline construction we have 3 members training from the Tyee. So they have a lot of opportunities that I sure didn't have when I was living out here. Opportunities which my dad didn't have when he lived out here.
The environmental monitoring course that I'm taking right now actually makes up a 101 program. So it can branch off into probably about 20 or 30 different directions if you choose to.
I worked at Babine Forest Products in Burns Lake for just over 4 years. Then I had January 20th, the mill blew up and I lost my job. FNLP helped me out get a job under WFN. Robert Dennis and my natural resource team gave me the vote of confidence, and I'm pretty comfortable at what I do now, and I love it. I could see myself doing it for a long time. I can go home every day. I'll be home by 4:30 and see the kids put them to bed every night. And it's one of the big benefits of doing what I do now, and I love it.
So a lot is happening. With Suiton has a revenue sharing agreement in forestry. They have a revenue sharing agreement in mining. They have a benefits agreement with Pacific Trails Pipeline. And they're now negotiating a benefits agreement with Coastal GasLink, and also negotiating with the province for revenue sharing for the pipelines going through their territory.
It was such an amazing feeling to have, 5 guys being able to feed their families again. Some of those folks aren't from our community, but we think that sharing job opportunities is a must in all of our communities.
Right now we are currently working on a brand new 40-unit hotel, which is slated to be built this summer. That's an opportunity we identified a few years ago, and it's just come to fruition now.
We're so proud of our accomplishments in the past 2.5 years, and when you see fathers come home with a paycheck in hand and you're able to feed your families, they're able to pay the rent, they're able to put food on the table, and that's huge.
The elders have continuously said over the years, even before my leadership, that they wanted to see a hall. So we just started making the plans with what little funds we had. It just brought back a sense of pride to our community. We even had a totem pole raising ceremony.
I've been honored to help facilitate a discussion between the hereditary chiefs and the elected council for the Wet'suwet'en First Nation.
We've sat down and discussed with them what we're doing. We've talked about respect for each other's governing systems, transparency, so that there's nothing being hidden here, that everything's on the table, so that both the government chief and the hereditary chiefs are working together for best possible outcomes for the people.
We've had ongoing meetings here, and the chief and council have been directly reporting back to us, so we're totally aware of what is going on, which is a great thing, which we've never done in the past.
They have more people working today than they did 3 years ago. They have less people on social assistance than they did 3 years ago. They have more infrastructure in their community than they did 3 years ago. I mean, this community has every right to be proud.
These projects are going to impact some of the most beautiful, pristine parts of the world. And it's natural for people to be very concerned about the impacts of these projects. They're concerned about everyone's impact, really wanting to ensure that everyone understands the true costs of this opportunity.
We are risking a big part, our land and our territory. We used to go to this one patch, it was just beautiful. And we used to go there year after year and pick these beautiful blueberries. And this one year I went back, and lo and behold, I went there, and the bulldozer came in from the forestry company or something, just creamed it right out. I just about was in tears. And I thought, are we going to be facing something like this with the pipelines,
When all of these projects are coming through, us being stewards of the land, it's really important that we're a part of it from the beginning to the end.
We want to be able to, take care of the land and make sure that any project is going to be considered in our territories, that, they're done properly and they're not going to affect all of our hunting and fishing and our berry picking sites. The things that keep us First Nations alive and attached to the land.
On the north side of Francois Lake, you can kind of see a ribbon going through the forest. That's where the pipeline route would be. And that's where the Tyee people that are training, that's the area that they would work in.
It's easy for communication problems to happen in, complicated projects like this.
I think if we stay on a positive track to love and respect each other, to, have that care, that we can make anything happen.
Well, one of the spin-offs from meeting with Moricetown and the other nations is that we're forming an economic partnership that we're doing with the 4 First Nations, and if Moricetown wants to join on, then it's more opportunities, economic opportunities for our nations.
When you're one nation, you're one community, and you're trying to do it all by yourself, it's a tough battle.
For individual bands or partnerships, whether it be with the neighbors to the north or south, partnerships are a lot stronger than individuality.
There's pride in seeing an alliance, a cooperation that's never been before. There's a strong collective voice, and when it comes to negotiations, the 5 cannot be herded apart from each other, divided and conquered.
All of the hurt and pain that our parents and great-grandparents have gone through, we can stop that cycle. These opportunities that are in front of us will help do that.
We can maintain the status quo. We can just keep things as they are. We'll be administering poverty. But we see this other avenue as an open door, as an opportunity.
We want to send a message to our neighboring First Nations. We are trying to do things right. We are making sure that consultation is happening in a meaningful way. We want to tell our First Nations that we're doing our best to pursue a fair economic accommodation package.
Having programs like this makes me think that, we're not just thinking about ourselves anymore. We're actually thinking about our families and our future.
We're all focusing forward now for better things for all of us. And I like to see our Skin Tyee Nation benefit from whatever else is going to come through our traditional territory. There's only a few elders we have left, and they didn't benefit anything from our traditional territory. And you know, with our territory so huge, we should be all rich today. Why are we sitting here in our community so broke? I want to move forward, starting immediately with the companies that will help us through.
So a majority of our membership lives off reserve. By these large projects coming through, we hope to build housing and have some families return home. So I hope that one day I'll be standing here. I could watch as these pipeline projects go through, and I could have good confidence that my membership that I trained today will be working on those projects when they're put in place.
It's about making sure that we are giving back information to our community members so that they can tell us, yes, we are in full support of you, or no, let's do things differently and this is how we do it. At the end of the day, it's not about me, it's not about the other chiefs, it's about what we do for the people.